The roar of cheers filled the arena. Camera flashes flashed, hitting the faces of two superstars who had been the focus of millions of eyes, Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo. For years, the public had wondered what was really going on between them. Were they still as close as they were during the filming of The Untamed? Or was there an invisible distance separating them? This story began with silence. After The Untamed made history and propelled them to the pinnacle of popularity, their relationship seemed to be shrouded in rumors. Some said they had a falling out. Others believed their friendship was merely feigned for the cameras. But that night, in an exclusive interview, everything changed. Xiao Zhan finally decided to speak. With a calm yet trembling voice, he began slowly, as if weighing each word that would shake the Chinese entertainment world. "I know a lot of people are wondering about me and Yibo," he said, staring into the camera with eyes that held a mix of fatigue and honesty. "I think it's time for me to be honest about everything." The room suddenly fell silent. There was no longer the sound of spotlights or the scraping of microphones. The journalists in attendance held their breath, awaiting a confession that would likely be the biggest story of the year. Xiao Zhan looked down for a moment, smiling faintly, a smile that seemed to hold a long memory of their shared time together. "Back when we were filming The Untamed, Yibo and I were still very young," he said. "We were both stubborn, with our own ways of working. Sometimes we disagreed, but that's how we learned a lot." His voice began to sound warmer, like someone reminiscing about an old friend. He continued, "Many people said we had a fight, but it was just a professional difference of opinion. Yibo was always honest and straightforward. He didn't say much, but when he did, he was always sincere." On screen, Xiao Zhan's expression was sincere and respectful. No defensiveness, just a desire to set the record straight. Time seemed to stop. Outside, fans watching the live broadcast began flooding social media. The hashtags #ShaoZhanOpensVoice and #YiboReaction immediately dominated the trending topics. Everyone wanted to know how Wang Yibo would respond to his friend and colleague's words. But Xiao Zhan wasn't done yet. "We didn't see each other much. After that big project, we were each busy with our own careers. But that doesn't mean we were enemies. Sometimes people misunderstood our silence as cold. In fact, that silence was a form of mutual respect." He smiled softly, and that smile felt like the answer to all the rumors. Moments later, the interview went viral across platforms. Fans cried, relieved, and moved. They remembered the times when the two stars laughed together off-screen, when their togetherness felt so natural. Now, hearing this honest confession, many felt like they could finally breathe a sigh of relief after years of waiting for clarity. That afternoon, social media was rocked again when Wang Yibo finally responded. Without further ado, he posted an old photo, a photo of the two of them sitting on the edge of the set, laughing carefree. The caption was simple: "Time may pass, but some things never change." That was all, but it was enough to send the entire internet into a frenzy. Xiao Zhan then wrote a short comment underneath the photo. "Thank you for always being there." Two short sentences, two hearts finally speaking again after a long silence. No lengthy clarifications, no added drama, just a confession born of sincerity. Fans called the moment the most beautiful reconciliation in entertainment. There was no big fight, no dramatic public apology. Just two people who once shared the same dream, finally understanding each other without many words. Amidst the often fake glitz of the entertainment world, that small moment felt so real. Many didn't know that the two had been secretly communicating all this time. Several production crew members confirmed that Xiao Zhan often checked in on Yibo while working on new projects. And when Yibo was injured during filming, the first message he received wasn't from his manager, but from someone named Xiao Zhan. Now, after the truth was revealed, the fans' mood changed. They were no longer looking for who was right or wrong. All that remained was gratitude that two figures they admired could respect each other without having to prove anything to the world. Their maturity served as a lesson to many about how to maintain a relationship in silence, without being trapped by public opinion. And that night, as the city lights began to dim, The two names shone brightly again, not because of the hype, but because of the honesty they chose to share. Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo proved that sometimes silence is stronger than 1,000 words, and that true friendship doesn't need to be announced. It just needs to be felt. Because in the end, the truth always finds its way, even in the brightest spotlight.